Welcome back to coverage of the 2021 South Florida Open, presented by Tri-Fly Disc Golf. This Fort Lauderdale area event played in early December 2021. Brought to you by the PDGA, coverage by Gatekeeper Media, Grant Zellner and Jennifer Allen on the mic for you this afternoon. Or this morning. You can watch whenever you feel like it. We're watching Gregg Barsby on a heater after round number 1, 14 down, taking a 6-stroke lead over Thomas Gilbert. Silas Schultz and Kevin Kiefer round out our lead card for round number 2 at the Plantation Heritage Disc Golf Course. So a new venue, Jen. A little windier.
Yeah, I was really excited to see how, when I say wooded, I always think of like tight wooded courses, but it didn't really look like that type of woods course. But the other course was so tight. This course looks like it's more of the park setting, open. They're going to be able to throw some shots and air some things out. And sometimes that, brings in some trouble. So I'm excited to see this. I've heard there's some sneaky OBs on this course. So.
For sure. Gregg Barsby has 356 feet between himself and the pin. Laces a low hyzer out there. Didn't quite get the left-hand finish he was looking for.
Yeah, I'm sure he wanted to get a little bit closer up there. It kind of stuck in that tall, thick grass and didn't get up to the basket like he wanted to, I'm sure.
If I know Thomas, he's going to go over the top. Certainly does.
Yeah, those are always fun to throw. As you get older, you don't throw as many, but when I was young, I love that shot. And Silas, loves to follow Thomas's line as well. He likes those big, fun shots. As you get older, you realize it takes so much less effort to just go right down the middle. But they're fun to just rip them.
Kevin Kiefer, new on the lead card, played his way onto the lead card after a decent first round. We'll see if he can capitalize on.
That looked like it came out of his hand a little left. He missed the angle. But it puts him, closer up that hill than the other two. So we'll see if he has a guarded putt. I'm excited to see if Gregg can continue cashing everything from circle 2 like he did yesterday. That was fun to watch.
Thomas low off the cage.
Yeah, it looks a little breezy sometimes when you have, it's not an elevated basket, but it is up on a mound higher than the players. And so your nose angle can kind of get up and the wind will affect that, even if they're not super windy.
Always good if you're toward the bottom of the box to pick up a stroke on anyone near the top of the box. Looks like both Silas and Kevin are going to do that here on hole number 1.
It just feels good to start with a birdie, no matter, winning, not winning, coming out of hole 1, with a good start, feeling like, okay, today's going to be a good day,
Definitely. I'll mention this now. Several of our players, I'm not going to say they're known for being slow players. That would be overstating it. But they are quite deliberate, especially on the green. I personally have a lot of respect for that. I've seen myself blow some short putts. So we'll get a chance to watch them go through their entire routine, which should be good for the rest of us to learn from as we move on to hole number 2, 370 feet, a wide open par 3. I like the occasional hole like this.
Yeah. Sometimes they're harder. I mean, we take our guard down a little bit, and when we don't have to hit an exact line, and sometimes, it just doesn't turn out so easy.
Well, it's harder to pick sort of an aiming point sometimes.
Yeah, I kind of like picking, trees and things like that, and end up with a great result like that. Just sneak it right up to the basket. It was a great shot by Silas. Kevin takes the same line. You're going to ride the road and just try to get your angle to come in. He gets stuck in that grass too. This looks like some very thick grass. They're not going to get some skips today. So you're going to want to land them by the basket. And that takes a few holes sometimes to change what you're used to.
Gregg trying to sort of
flipped up on him.
Flip something.
Yeah.
Gets lucky though. That's safe. Long but safe.
.370. It looks like he's throwing a mid.
I know, right?
Yeah, Thomas.
It's the kind of result you might expect from throwing a mid.
Yeah,
as well.
stable mid. It hyzered in there great.
Okay, Gregg made no fewer than 4 or 5 of these yesterday. Let's see if he can get on track.
But just not coming out like he has, like he typically does. He'll get on a groove, I believe.
Nice shot, Kevin. Picking up 2 strokes on the leader in the first 2 holes.
Sometimes when you come out in a tournament and everything just is so easy, that next day you kind of expect it just to happen. Like, I put the putter in my hand, I'm going to make it. And so when it doesn't, kind of, you got to get it going there a little bit, shake it off and realize, okay, I have to actually focus and try to make these putts.
No doubt about it. Hole number 3, just 260 feet. A little more OB in play, though, than we've seen thus far with that road on the right-hand side.
It's interesting, with the forehand, when it looks like the basket's guarded so well by that tree. You would think coming in with the hyzer route.
Choice.
Yeah, you think the hyzer route, you skip it off the road up to the basket. So this looks a little more straight at it, but hyzer kind of flips up on him as well.
Now, he went backhand. Maybe we just learned why.
Yeah.
Maybe we just learned why Silas was looking at a forehand.
Yeah, I think he wanted that
looks
angle.
Looks like Thomas is looking at a forehand too. So I'm guessing there's a win factor going on here.
Yeah, it looked like it flipped up on him. He wanted that to hyzer in a little bit more, Kevin did, and it flipped up and rode the road. But all three of them went forehand, so maybe that was definitely, even though it's guarded, like you said, maybe the wind that we can't see really was making them choose that shot.
Totally.
This is why I'm behind the mic and not competing neck and neck with these guys.
There's definitely a reason for it. On them
Thanks,
choosing
Jim.
that, I'm sure. Not you not playing. I'm sure you're great, Grant. Just like that putt. That was a good putt to save par. Big putt, even though it wasn't a birdie, that feels like a birdie. You saved it. You didn't get a penalty stroke there. That looks better from Gregg. Maybe we'll get rolling there.
Mm-hmm. All of our players playing well through distraction during the course of this round. This is a busy park. It's got at least one, if not a couple of one-lane roads that meander throughout the course. There are very busy boulevards surrounding this park. We're right in the middle of the Fort Lauderdale area of Florida, so this is a densely populated area. Oh!
That dropped the very last second. That looked in out of his hand. See the frustration on his face. He thought it was in too, I think. Sometimes the little wind affects it more than like if you have a 15, 20 mile per hour gust. That you can kind of take into, you know, your calculations. But those little bitty gusts sometimes really sneak up on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, number 4, the first one that brings the water into play this afternoon, 385 feet. If you go straight at it, that's almost all carry. There is a bit more room to the left than meets the eye. The first road on the left is not out of bounds.
That would be brutal if it was. That's a tight landing zone.
Oh. Thomas frustrated. Fortunate, though, not to deflect all the way into the water.
Yeah, hard with a tiny gap like that. You don't want to hit the trees over the water, so we let it go just a hair early. That looks like a safer route, especially you can get a little skip maybe off of one of those roads and get closer. Unfortunately, it gets that thick grass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think you're not afraid of the water, but it's hard to suppress all of those thoughts and keep it over the water. Because, I mean, you really want to ride the water the entire time to make it there. 385, these guys can throw that. But that's all water the entire shot that way. And he catches a little bit of those branches, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm not sure. I think that shot would have had enough time to come back, but not when it lost all of its speed like that. Tom is hoping he can save par from a distance here on his upshot.
That looks scarier than the tee.
Does a great job. Giving himself a chance. We're still early.
You don't want 2 OB strokes, so I think, you know, that's even harder to just air the water the entire time. You have to commit to a shot like that. Yeah, these putts are just dropping. They think they release them right, and it's just sucking them down. So probably some shifty winds out there for sure. Silas.
Great shot.
Yeah, Silas is putting great. He's a good putter. He puts in a lot of practice, a lot of hard work. Big putt, saves his bogey.
Mm-hmm. Still very early in the going this afternoon.
And that was a dangerous putt. I mean, that water's right behind. If that, you know, catches just a little edge, it's going to roll into the water. So that was a lot of pressure. And to hang with these guys, you know, I'm sure the pressure's on him too to keep it going. He had a great start. So a little more danger on this hole. Kind of brought some challenges than the first couple of holes did. Great. finishes up with his par and moves on.
When the PDGA Tour rolls into town, the action is intense and the competition fire. But every inferno, no matter the size, must begin as a spark. With PDGA sanctioned leagues and tournaments, anyone can get in the game. Fuel your fire. Find an event near you at pdga.com.
Hole 5, 306 feet. A par 3 again with a fairly significant water carry. Maybe a similar shot shape as we saw before, Jen?
It definitely looks about the same line. We'll see if they change their thoughts on it. Guarded more on the left, so it probably takes out that forehand. We're going to see a lot more backhand shots into here, I would think, just like that one. Dials it in. 306, a little shorter, so. That is
going
not
low, risky.
Yeah, he did. He hung it the whole time.
Woo.
Thought we might see a water skip on that one. Coming in a little shorter, but right there. Great shot.
And now Kevin.
High knifes it in. These are little easy 300-foot chip shots. No big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no big deal.
You can see the trees are still kind of shaking a little bit, so maybe a little windier off the water there.
Yeah, always
he
seems
got
like,
it. Get out of there. No, I'm just kidding, Greg. Good
always
putt.
seems like when there's a water feature, even on a calm day, there's going to be a bit of a breeze, at least on a few of the holes. And I don't think it's not the first time this round we've seen the wind having to be sort of considered. I don't think it'll be the last.
Gonna get a good little star frame here.
It's our first of the day.
Yeah, these boys are having fun. I love to see that. Looked like they had a great time round one. Maybe it's just down in Florida, having a good time, makes golf a little easier.
Hole 6, 385, right down the chute, probably the most obstructed, wooded basket location that we've had thus far today. There's a lot to negotiate in this 385 feet.
There is definitely a lot of little things out there to get in the way. We'll see if that makes them choose different shots. It seems like we're getting a great variety from these cards.
You know, the difference in the caliber of these players and me is that I would have let those two cars go out of fear that I would somehow hit them.
They're dialed in just a little better.
Just a little bit.
Just a little better. And that flips up on him again.
Yeah, it's the second time Gregg has tried to sort of flip something low and straight.
I don't know if he's not meaning to flip that quite so hard. It's just sometimes they just come out that way, and timing may be off just a little bit. You pull that angle just a touch. I mean, your nose angle and your release is so important, and if it's just a hair off, they're not going to come out clean like you want them to.
Jen, do you find it hard to adjust from round to round if you go from a course like yesterday's that's a bit shorter and a bit more technical to a course like this where, you know, even on a 380-foot shot, you're having to kind of, I don't know, throw with a little bit more effort? Do you find it hard to make that adjustment?
Well, this hole is a little bit more like yesterday's course, so it kind of makes you, I feel like I focus a lot harder when I do have to pick that line, which they did yesterday. They were dialed in. They had to commit with all those, you know, trees and obstacles in the way. The first couple of holes here, you know, I feel like your guard goes down because they were a little more wide open. And so I think that really kind of comes into play a little bit. And I think it comes into play that they shot so well, not just Gregg. They had a great round, that first one. And so you feel like the next day you're just going to wake up and things just happen the same. And that's not what usually happens, It's hard to get 4 awesome rounds in a row.
Sometimes it's hard to get 2 awesome rounds in a row.
Exactly. Thomas has the best look at it, and still, this was a tough hole, long and very guarded. So much still in the way. I thought he was going to snag that branch too. He was not putting, that was some hard places to get into.
Yeah, Kev.
There we go. Someone did get it. Do you know where Kevin's from?
I don't. I can try to find out before the end of the round, though.
Thinking he's maybe a local. Or somewhere down from Florida, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Just get out of there. New hole. Start over. We did not see much red on Gregg's card yesterday, so.
No, we didn't. Moving on to hole 7. 444 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Is this the longest hole thus far today?
This looks like a pretty hole. You've got some trouble. I'm sure that's an OB fence on the left. The road, do we know if the road is out of bounds as well? Got some distance.
Yeah, I believe the road does play out of bounds all the way up the left. Wouldn't it be cool if that your speed sign was turned around? And if it could pick up the disc?
Now it decides to flip.
You actually can do that.
Yep. OB over the road.
So he was trying to get every bit of that and get up there, and it just, this wind maybe pushed it out just a hair and wasn't letting it dive in. He puts a lot more angle on it, doesn't want to do that, and hopefully has a putt not too protected by that tree. Thomas gets a good release angle. Hopefully he can have a little more open putt at it.
Yeah, he'll have, looks like 45 or so, maybe a little closer than that.
That holds the line better for him.
Sawed it off a little bit, if anything, but he
did he
wasn't
catch
going to
something?
miss. Yeah, he wasn't going to miss in the same way for the third time. He wasn't
No.
going to overturn something.
And unfortunately, he had went out a little early, so he has to take it all the way back there.
Gregg probably leaves a little more than he would have liked to save his par.
That tree is not leaving him much to look out.
Yeah. There you go. Good putt, dude. 2-2.
Thomas gets his birdie, and that's a good hole.
Gregg pays the price for leaving such a long putt for par. He'll drop another stroke, and all of a sudden, things have tightened up quite a bit.
Yeah, sometimes just the pressure of that. You think you have a nice, good, 5-stroke lead cushion going in. You kind of let it loose a little bit, and just it can go away in a hurry, and that gap get narrowed really quickly, especially on a course with a lot of out of bounds.
Mm-hmm. Something unique about hole number 8 at 444 feet. It measures exactly as hole 7 did. However, hole number 8 is a par 4.
Yeah, it looks longer, doesn't it?
It sort of does. It may play into the prevailing wind, and it certainly narrows up there at the end with both of those roads sort of knifing in at the basket. So, interested to see if it plays substantially more difficult.
He kept that a little low. I mean, it's such a guarded tee, it looks like, and it's hard to get your distance when there's, a low line right out off the tee pad there. So you want it to carry all the way down there, but when you have to start it that low, that's a difficult shot, which is probably why it's a little bit more of a par 4. And that as well, because there is trouble all around. Being a straight shot, you wouldn't think this is like a placement hole, but maybe with the low trees there, this is kind of, you have to play it maybe more of a placement shot and just kind of get it out there to the middle, get a good upshot, get your par, and get off this hole.
Or in this case, maybe go ahead and play for the easier birdie rather than, risking too much trying to get that eagle.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm still thinking it's a par 3 looking at this.
I know, right?
I forgot it was a par 4.
Yeah, I know. It does. It makes you...
Yeah, because these guys
sort
can
of
throw.
lulls you to sleep.
Yeah, 450 is definitely a reachable shot, but the difficulty of all the penalties on this one. Like that.
He just called his disc a jerk.
I mean, sometimes you got to get them, put them in timeout.
You're a jerk. That was really funny. Silas went out pretty early.
Yeah, that was a good angle, though. This is should come in. Dig. Oh! Go to the casino. That was good.
That was really, really fortunate.
And that may come into play, too. They're thinking, oh, this grass is so thick, we can just knife it in there and it's not going to skip. But they're getting a little play there.
Wow, Gregg.
Well, he may have just been trying to stay safe, though. When you're trying to get the... one direction versus left or right, like the distance going long might not have been as important to him. He just wants to stay safe because he can make these, this is a makeable putt for him. So he just has to stay safe and start getting those right there to fall just like that. So great birdie, shake it off, move on.
Backing this up to watch Gregg just put that in perfectly.
Yeah, which is all we saw him do yesterday. So the first couple holes a little uncharacteristic. So he'll turn this around. He's a champ. Thomas made that look easy.
Getting fancy.
Yeah, he likes those little tricks. He's a showsman for sure. It's just until
Hole
you
number
miss
9.
one of those.
That's true. 389 feet. Back to a par 3. That road playing out of bounds yet again. Sort of plays up near the hole and then sort of gets out of the way off to the right. So as long as you carry the bend in the road, you can feel free to go off to the right. Otherwise, you might want to follow the line of the fairway. Thomas just trying to go over everything.
Yeah. Makes sense, right? Just what trees? If you go above them.
Caught the top of that very last one, but still manages to put himself in circle 2.
And we saw Gregg take a deep breath back there. He's wanting to let those first few holes go, get something going here. And
Almost.
that didn't work.
Almost turned it back in bounds. Caught just enough of that tree to probably lose the speed he needed.
And that's just the hardest part of this game, you know, the mental aspect of playing one hole at a time, letting it go. Bad stuff is typically going to happen. So it's how good we can get out there and let it go when it does and focus on the next few to get off the course when you're having a bad day.
Kevin taking on the headwind.
Yeah, it looks like a nice line in there. Gonna give him a look for birdie. That's great. Coming from a drop zone. And getting close to that. Looks like he's inside circle 1 maybe. I need a rangefinder when I'm on the course, let alone on a video. So don't take that. I am not gonna be accurate with that.
Oh, Silas. Opportunity to pick up a stroke on Gregg there. Well, he'll still pick up possibly 1 stroke. That was a chance for a 2-shot swing. Also for Thomas. He's not able to capitalize.
Kevin looks like he's a great putter. That was a solid putt from way out to get his birdie. And it's definitely looking breezy.
Mm-hmm. You can hear it on the footage.
And he commits, and he doesn't want to give up another one right there.
Yeah, it does well to just give up.
Yeah,
the
but
one
that's what I'm
stroke.
saying. It doesn't matter. You don't want to miss that and give up another one. Bogey or not, it's minimize the damage and get off of there.
I've got a surprise for you, Jen, here in just a second.
Christmas presents?
Yeah. An extra hole.
All right. Just what everyone wants.
We're playing a front 10 instead of a front 9 today. Hole 9A. Just a 200-foot temp hole. Have a little fun. Maybe some ace opportunities, or at least closest to the pin opportunities for these guys to have a little fun today.
Kevin's going to get his, hopefully, a little present. You know, sometimes these little short 200-footers, you know, they can sneak up and you think, oh, this birdie or die hole, and it'll get you. So hopefully we'll see what this wind does to him.
I almost feel more pressure
Yeah,
on
for
these.
sure. You're like, oh, yay, 200 feet, yay. Especially when it's wide open. Your accuracy has to be dialed in. These boys are good, though. They're going to get it in there. Looks like a great angle. Just a hair long.
All right, will Gregg go forehand or backhand? Everybody safely in birdie range.
Yeah, let's go.
There we go. Let's get us a star frame and move on to the real course, right?
Move on to the back nine. The back nine in the second round of a 3-round tournament always kind of feels like that's where things are beginning to happen. So all 4 of our players want to launch into that phase of this tournament with a good feeling. Feeling that comes from
that kind of feeling? Is that what kind of feeling we're looking for?
Most of Gregg
Is that
Barsby's
a raptor
lead,
legs? Is that an impression?
something. Most of Gregg Barsby's lead has evaporated. Still will take a 1-stroke lead into the back nine over Thomas. Silas, Kevin still in the hunt. Jared Stoll playing his way into the hunt from a chase card. We'll be back with back nine coverage of round 2 at the South Florida Open. Stay tuned to the PDGA on YouTube.